Welcome to the Auction Block Podcast, straight talk from the block. Welcome your host, Garrett Riles and Benjamin Bishop.
Welcome to the Auction Block, straight talk from the block. I'm your host, Garrett Riles, and we're here again today with Benjamin Bishop.
Hey, everybody. It's good to be back in the studio today, and we got some interesting things to talk about. Anyway, welcome back to the Auction Block, and y'all strap in for the ride, and we'll see where it goes.
See where we end up. Yeah, what you been up to this week?
Getting machinery unstuck. You know, all that rain we had, it didn't help the ground any to hold up any kind of machinery. So that's been some fun stuff. And come to find out, we weren't the only ones. Everybody we called that had machinery that would come and help us, they had theirs stuck as well. So it seems to be a common cold that's going around for everybody is dealing with the wet ground. So
well, I need to call Grant and tell him to watch what he's doing. We don't
quit,
need to be stuck.
To quit, huh?
Yeah, we haven't been doing much either. Just getting ready for the next sale in Ashland, August 23rd. Kind of getting some ducks in a row there, starting to round up some stuff to advertise. So y'all be watching for that. It's going to be a really good sale. It always is. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm expecting some big things there, and I think it'll be a great sale. So y'all keep that in mind. If you've got anything you're wanting to sell, give us a call and let's get it advertised and get it out there for the people to see. And August 23rd, it's right around the corner, so earlier the better. And
yeah, that's kind of where we're headed today on our topic is if you've got equipment that you're kind of borderline about, you know, what you need to get out of it. You know, a lot of times we buy equipment, you know, in a rush, in a hurry, because we got a project to do and we, you know, need it right then and there. And so we kind of give a little more than what we probably should for it. And then we get through and we kind of feel like we might be upside down on it. But the auction industry is a great avenue to kind of put the market back in your favor. You know, the auction industry is something that can help you recoup those funds. You know, that the auction industry, it makes it a competitive market. Yep. You know, it's not just an ad somewhere on social media, but it's a competitive market. And if you find yourself in that kind of predicament, give us a shout, give us a call, and we'll try to get you the best bang for your buck. And the sooner you get it to us, the more places we can get it advertised. I know the last few sales we've had, we've sent some equipment overseas.
We send something every auction I've ever had, something's left and went over to another country.
Yeah,
a lot of different places. It's
so
pretty
I mean
cool to see.
that broadens the buyer's market big time, and that's kind of what we were talking about before the show is some items that just rung a bell that just kind of blew people's mind.
What about items that come in from other planets?
Yeah. Okay. So that's pretty interesting.
We send stuff out and goes to other countries. Well, I've never had anything come in from another planet.
Yeah. Yeah. So what would you have done? So there's if nobody's heard of this yet, there is it's recorded to be the largest piece of Mars on Earth. So
yeah.
So Garrett, what would your response be if you would have answered the phone and this guy goes, "Hey, I've got a piece of Mars I want to put in auction." Where does your mind go from there?
Like Mars chocolate bars? How are we going to prove this?
Right.
They said they found it in the Sahara Desert, and it's believed to be an asteroid, or an asteroid blew it off the surface of Mars, and it's like this big.
Yeah. Estimated 54 pounds? Like that's a chunk of rock.
Estimated at $4 million. That's a chunk of money.
Yeah. Yeah. That's there's pretty good commish on that. If it brings that, and who knows, you know, there's a lot of people out there with money they don't know what to do with. that will probably end up with it just for a talking point,
Yeah.
to have a piece of outer space in there. Um,
Do you think a piece of that rock sitting there would bring up a good talking point, or just a stack of $100 bills, $4 million worth, would bring up a better talking point?
I'd say for the folks I run with, the $4 million sitting there on the table would probably be a talking point. They'd probably want to know
That's just
what
an old rock.
what
Let's
what
talk
I,
about the money.
yeah, what I did illegally to get that, because I haven't ever rung that bell. That's for sure.
Me neither, but it sounds pretty cool. Soulsby's auction company is selling it. I think it's this week.
Yeah.
That'll be pretty. I don't know. I'm not into watching Mars Rock sales, but I think I'm gonna check that out and see what it brings.
Yeah,
anyway.
that's definitely something of interest for anybody, just to kind of see what it brings, and where it goes from there. But man, this year has seemed to be a record setting year for the auction industry. I know,
It's always cool to sit and listen and just read on the internet and see. I mean, I'm an equipment guy. That's what I like to do, but I like to see what other auctions are doing and just read about them. And then it's always a record getting set. I guess records are meant to be broken, but there's always new records being set in the auction world, and you're like, man, that can't be beat. And then there it is. It'll get beat.
yeah. I worked in the horse auction business for a few years, on not necessarily in the ring, but on the back side of things, and the advertising and that kind of deal. And so I kind of keep up with some of the stuff that goes on with the horse industry. And man, this year alone, there's been 2 or 3 horses that's just blew people's mind. Back in March, there was a 2-year-old son of a gun runner colt that brought $3 million. A 2-year-old horse that bought $3 million, and that was kind of a record deal for that sales event. And then here in July, there's been 2 other horses that's just kind of blown people's mind away. There was one, a horse called Romeo that sold for $1.7 million in Lexington, Kentucky. And so that was kind of a shocker there. But the biggest deal, or the biggest wow factor of July is the Crosby Rand Vaughn 3-year-old team roping mare. That sold at the Old West Roping Futurity Sale in Heber City, Utah, back in June. It sold for $1.7 million as well, and that makes it the most expensive Western performance horse ever sold at a public auction. So that's that just kind of a draw dropping thing there, especially it being a 3-year-old. That's really young in the horse world, which it's got a lot of years left on it. But most times a horse that gets somewhere close to that kind of money is a horse that's been proven, that's won a lot of ropings, that's been to the big show, been to the been all over the world, been to Vegas, and won several events. But for a young 3-year-old to bring that kind of money, there's a lot of prospect and potential that they're expecting out of that horse there.
Yeah. It was a pretty horse too.
Yeah. And so, that's, it's just, it's like we started off talking about, that's the auction industry. It drives that market. It's such a competitive market, and you don't ever know what to expect. You don't ever know who's going to be standing or sitting in the ring and have the deep pockets to say, hey, I want this more than anybody else in the world.
That's another cool thing is you can go to these auctions and it's people from all walks of life, and there's people that they look like they may not have nothing and they got it, and then there's opposite,
Yeah,
vice versa. And it's really cool to see. There's an auction's a good place to go when
you
looking to sell something for
you know, to the outsiders or to people that just show up, you know, and just kind of there for the food, like I am, you know, just there for the entertainment. But you know, to them, you know, they're sitting around and they'll see these sharp dressed guys. Oh man, that guy there, he's all business. He's got, you know, he's got the bankroll. And as the day progresses, you've noticed the old guy in the overalls that, you know, the worn out flannel shirt. You know,
Yeah.
he's the one that's bought 90% of the equipment. You know, so you can't you know, the whole saying, you can't judge a book by its cover. You
No,
can't
never
you
can.
can't judge a buyer by his attire, because you don't ever know who's in the crowd.
So you're telling me in July the average going price of a horse is 1.7 million?
At least at those two sales, it was. So you know, that's makes kind of makes me want to get back into the horse market, but I don't know that I could afford to.
Well, we might just go out here we have to go around Potts Camp, go out in the pasture and find some people with horses.
Yeah, those are a little different caliber, and
that
those
ain't the same.
yeah, those don't ring the same bell.
Oh.
Those are the ones we that we fooled with mostly, was just your average common horses. Now we did have some good, some decent performance horses and that kind of stuff come through, you know, every now and then, but the average local horse or whatever, you know, and that was something we kind of prided ourselves on, is even though they were quote unquote average horses, they were still really good horses for
Broke horses?
yeah.
So people would ride them in
Oh
the
yeah,
arena?
yeah. They were I'd say 90% of them would be what we would call kid broke and grandma safe. And that meant that you could just about put anybody you wanted to on that horse and turn them loose, and that horse would take care of them.
What about the other 10%?
The other 10%, you better be a cowboy. You know, you better know how to ride at least for 8 seconds. So, but you know, and that was something, you know, that I thought we did very well, is our market was typically that 90% plus, where we had good horses that just about anybody could do something with. You know, they weren't just wild and didn't have any control to them, but they were good stock. You know, they were good stock, and even in that 10%, it wasn't so much that they were just crazy wild horses, but it was just they needed a hand on them. They needed a cowboy that could take them and give them some experience and do a little more training on them. So they weren't just, you know, just all out fools, but they just weren't kid safe and ready for grandma to hit the trail on. But anyway, you know, that was something we took pride in, was, you know, we would have we'd have anywhere from 120 head every month, and like I said, 90% of them would be good stock that somebody could take and turn just the beginner rider loose on, and they would be safe and taken care of.
Where all were they coming from?
Man, we had horses coming from all over the country. We had several people. We'd have people come from Texas. We had people come from Kentucky, Tennessee, Arkansas, Louisiana, Alabama. We had horses coming from all over, and you know, it made the market competitive.
Yeah.
Because it was an auction. You know, it was an auction.
Were a lot of them staying here locally?
Yeah. Most of them were staying here. There'd be a few that would get transported back to a different state or something, but the majority of them would stay here with local buyers.
That's pretty cool.
So that was nice to see. You know, to see these guys bring them in from different states and stuff, and then you see, you know, your local guys purchasing and keeping them there to, to do some kid trail rides, or to get their kids started in 4-H or
Yeah.
junior rodeo or something of that nature. And so that was always exciting to see.
Y'all sold tack and everything before?
We did. The guy I helped. He had an account with a tack dealership, and so he had his own tack that he would auction off, and then we had another couple tack dealers that would auction off their stuff, and then they'd have a trailer set out front, and so that made for a full day there.
Yeah. What day were y'all? When were y'all doing these?
We did them typically on the first Saturday of the month.
Okay, on Saturdays.
Yeah.
During the day.
Yep.
Huh. That's pretty cool. I figured that would be like in the evenings during the week, like a cow sale or something. But
no, we would start. Tack would start about 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock on Saturday morning, and then we'd try to get the horses rolling about 11 or 12.
yeah.
And then we'd probably wrap up around 7, 8 o'clock at night when we'd
Dang.
sell the last horse.
How many were y'all running through there?
On a good sale, we'd have over 100 head. Yeah, I'd say on an average sale, we'd have at least 100 head. Good sales, we'd be pushing 150 head through there. And then so the biggest difference I've seen between the equipment auction and the horse auction is with at the end of the equipment auction, those tractors, they don't really have to go anywhere. You don't have to make sure they got hay or water or anything.
Yeah.
But the horses, as soon as that last horse is sold, you got trailers backing in, and you've got to get them all separated and sorted and loaded and shipped out. And then whatever few are left overnight, you got to make sure they got hay and water until they come back in the morning and pick them up. So it turns a sale day can be a good 16, 18 hour day.
Did y'all have anything got left for like
more than one day? There was a few times that somebody bought more than their trailer could hold, or something of that nature, and so it would have to stay a day or two, or we would end up taking it back to our place down the road for them and keeping it, until they could get another truck.
Yeah. Huh.
To come pick it up. No, we never had anything that stayed that long. Not like the tractors, but at least the tractors don't eat or drink, so you ain't got to worry about a tractor falling over dead or breaking its leg.
Yeah. I saw. Speaking of cows, I seen where they shut the imports from Mexico back off again. I wonder what that's going to do to the price of them. I know they've been up, and then they opened the gates back up, and now they've done shut them back down again. I bet that's gonna. I think that might drive the price up a little bit more on them.
It should, it should. And I mean that, and I think that's, I think that I feel like that should be a good move. I mean, I always felt like, our farmers and ranchers here in the state have struggled in the cattle industry is, having to compete with those imports, I feel like our guys should get premium dollar for what we're raising here in the States, but it always seems like they get they kind of get their legs cut out from under them when they go to sale.
Yeah.
So hopefully, hopefully that's a good move. Hopefully that drives the beef price up for the cattlemen, and yeah, that's going to make our burgers cost a little more, but I don't think a lot of people understand or don't really see how one little small adjustment like that will affect everybody in a positive way in the long term.
Yeah.
Because it's all going to come full circle at some point. You may have to pay a little more for a burger or a steak or whatever when the beef prices go up. But I mean, it's going to come back and benefit you at some point or another. I feel like
better quality.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Probably.
It should be, yeah. But like if the cattlemen are making more money off of their beef, then they're going to spend more money in areas that they typically wouldn't. They're going to upgrade a truck, or they're going to upgrade a tractor, or they're going to buy some new clothes, or they may even take a vacation. So I mean, so they're that money's just going to kind of go full circle and boost the economy all the way around.
Seems to me like a lot of the smaller guys are getting out though. That's what I noticed with you think, man, they're selling these cows for a record prices. They're doing great. They're going to come buy some hay equipment and stuff. But a lot of them are selling their hay equipment along with the cows and just quitting.
Yeah. Well, and that's can't
blame them though.
No, because like I said, they're for years. They've put all this work and energy into raising good quality beef, and they take it to sell, and it sells for pennies on the dollar. And it's like, why keep losing money?
Yeah.
So you can't blame them on that aspect. But hopefully shutting down the imports will drive the market, and number one, hopefully it'll give us some better food to eat.
Yeah.
I would feel a lot more confident in eating American raised beef than beef from across the seas. That's just I'm not a conspiracy theorist at all, but I think I put a lot more trust in our guys here in the USA, raising what I put in my mouth.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I guess that'll wrap it up for the week. I know you said did you say you were, or you're not a conspiracy theorist?
I'm not a conspiracy theorist. But,
I am. I'm worried about this rock, and that this Mars rock's going to be selling on Soulsby's this week. Y'all check it out. It's already at $2 million. It sells tomorrow, and kind of anxious to.
Did you get a buyer's number?
No need.
Oh, you don't know.
No need. I'm just gonna watch.
So you're saying your credit line's not up there to even click one time.
No, we'd be risking it. Even though they say it's going to bring that much, we'd be risking it.
Yeah, be betting the farm, huh?
Yeah, more than that.
August 23rd, Ashland, Mississippi is our next sale. If you have any questions, have any concerns, have any items you want to put in, now's the time to get them sent over to us, so we can get them advertised. We can get them pushed out on all our platforms, and we can get you in that competitive market to get you the best price for that piece of equipment. So reach out to Garrett and let us know what you got.
My number is 662-274-4708. We'll have it advertised all over, and we'll be live and online. Online bidding will be through Equipment Facts and bid.rilesauctions.com. If you haven't had a chance, go to your app store and download the Riles Auctions app. That'll get you have it on your phone at all times, where you can see when we're having an auction and get notifications about the upcoming auctions. Riles Auctions on your app store, and go ahead and download that. And if you need anything, y'all let us know, and y'all have a great rest of your week, and we will see y'all later.
See you next podcast.